Saying Tactics Ogre Reborn was the best tactical RPG of 2022 is obviously an opinionated statement that not everyone may agree with. But in this video, I want to review Tactics Ogre Reborn and let you know why I think it was the best in 2022 and beyond. There is so much content to cover in Reborn, it's hard to know where to start. So perhaps we'll start there, the sheer amount of content. When you first start playing, you're given a handful of classes and heroes and sent out into the world on a linear path. But it doesn't take long before you realize that there are dozens of more characters and classes to unlock and use, along with in-game story decisions that lead you down very different paths, each with their own unique characters to recruit. Tactics Ogre Reborn boasts over 40 different classes, including your basic classes like warriors, wizards, and archers, more advanced classes like ninja, swordsman, and beast tamer, and even recruitable beasts, dragons, undead, lizardmen, and fairies, not to mention unique classes available to certain characters after achieving specific conditions. This variety of classes then produces a huge repertoire of skills, spells, and finishing moves that create a near endless combination of possibilities for party composition and playstyles. Everything from a party of heavy-hitting tank classes to a glass cannon party of wizards to a balanced team of tanks, casters, archers, and healers. All of these are possible and viable. But moving past the amount of units available, the amount of playable content is staggering. Playing through the main campaign is your pretty standard fare, taking probably about 40 hours give or take to complete. But the end game is where Tactics Ogre Reborn really comes to life. Very few games outside of MMOs give you significant amounts of content to play once you hit max level, and have all those cool, top level skills, spells, items, and equipment to use. Tactics Ogre Reborn has just as much content, or more, on the other side of the final boss fight as there is before it, but still manages to keep the endgame content engaging with even more unique weapons, items, and classes to find while playing through some challenging and unique endgame dungeons. With all this content to play through and unlock, the developers knew you wouldn't want to spend hours upon hours replaying the main campaign again just to see what happens when you make different choices than you did the first time, or to pick up the characters that you missed by making those original choices. So to alleviate this, they put in the World Tarot system, which allows you, after completing the main story, to go back to anchor points in the story just before each of these major decisions. This means that you can jump back to a battle or two before the end of a chapter and make a different choice, which will then lead to battles and cutscenes that you missed the first time, and allow you a chance to recruit characters that you might have even fought and killed in your first playthrough. The other great part about this world system is that none of your progress is erased when jumping to different points in the game. Played through the Chaos route the first time and then went back and did the Law route? Every anchor point on the Chaos route is still available, and every character you have recruited in your party will still be there, even if you jump to a time before you met them, or even to a timeline where in the story, they are dead. In addition to enabling you to jump around the game's timeline, the World Tarot also features a level sync system that you can turn on or off for most battles that you have already played. This means if you need to play through a battle or two you've already completed to get to a decision point, or to unlock or save a character that you didn't the first time, you can play this battle with your party at level 50, while the enemy is at a much lower level. This way you can quickly and easily get to where you're trying to go. The World Tarot system is an excellent addition to a game like this that requires so much time to complete that most people don't want to play through the whole story they've already seen again, even for new characters or a few new battles. I really think that more tactical RPGs would benefit from a similar system. So that should give you an idea of the sheer amount of content available in Tactics Ogre Reborn. But content alone is not near enough to keep us playing. What about the gameplay? Is it engaging? In short, yes. Tactics Ogre Reborn gives me a strange feeling of simplicity in complexity. What do I mean by that? Well, the actual battles themselves play out in a simple but engaging way, Movement is what you would expect in a tactics game, limited and affected by terrain, and attacking is simple enough, with the biggest thing affecting damage usually being the elemental affinities of the attacking and defending unit, though armor, buffs, and debuffs can make a significant difference here as well. Don't get me wrong though, there are plenty of tactical decisions in choosing which units will take the front line, or whether you should take the high ground and let the enemy come to you, and so on. Then there are all the buff and debuff options, as I mentioned, that can make a huge impact on the battle. So perhaps what I should say is that playing the battles is intuitive and easy to pick up, but challenging to master. Where the complexity comes in is in the preparation of your team before battle. The classes you choose to use, the elemental affinities that they have, the skills and spells and even equipment you give them, all have a huge impact on the battles. I would say that half the fun for me was just deciding on how to outfit my units and how to build up my team of veterans into a well-oiled machine with the right set of complementary skills and spells. There are so many skills and spells from different classes that pair well and lend themselves to experimentation, which really improves the replayability of this game. Continuing with the simple complexity theme is the buff card system. Tactics Ogre Reborn features a buff card system where blue and green cards appear during battles. The green cards give you a very small but permanent stat boost to a character who picks them up, and the blue cards give you a huge buff that lasts only for the current battle. This system is simple enough in that you pick up the card and gain the buff, but they can make the battles and your decisions in them much more complex just by their very presence. This is because blue cards, in particular, give you a huge buff, like 50% more physical or magic damage, and each one you pick up stacks with any that you already have, giving your unit an OP power boost. This system then adds complexity because the enemy units can benefit from these cards too, so you can be forced to make a decision on whether to send a unit into a risky position to either obtain the buff or to prevent an enemy from obtaining it. This system is one that was added since the PSP version of the game and has stirred up a bit of controversy, but I think it helps the game more than it hurts it. If you want to see more about that discussion though, I'll put a link to a video I made about it down in the description. The final point I want to make about the gameplay and engagement is the process of unlocking and recruiting new classes. Almost every enemy class you come across is recruitable or unlockable at some point in the game. Some are simple enough to get by using recruit skills, which work kind of like catching Pokemon. Get an enemy down to low health, then move adjacent to them, and use the recruit skill, and hopefully you recruit them. This, in itself, is surprisingly fun to attempt. Other classes, though, require you to complete certain criteria first before you can obtain them. It isn't always obvious what you need to do, though, so using a guide online is recommended, but sometimes the quest to unlock a class or character will take you down a new path, and it's always rewarding as these classes are unique and come with powerful skills when paired with the right team. The developers did a really good job of dangling the carrot out in front of us just long enough to keep us interested, but not so long that we give up before they reward us for our efforts. So these reasons and more, which I don't have time to mention here, are why I think Tactics Ogre Reborn was the best TRPG of 2022. However, when reviewing a game, I try to find at least one thing that I didn't like about the game, so I can do my best to give a fair and honest review. This can be hard to do with a game like this that I have enjoyed so much and put much more time in than any other game I've played in the last year. But I do have one thing that irked me in Tactics Ogre Reborn. That thing would be the level cap system. So as you play through the game, you are capped at certain levels above which none of your units can pass until certain points in the game are reached. So you may be able to level up to level 5, but then you are held there through 2 or 3 more battles before you are allowed to level up again. I'm sure this system was put in place to make sure the game remained challenging throughout, but I'm a player who enjoys power leveling sometimes so that I can steamroll an enemy who was perhaps too challenging on the first try. Also, at the end game, which like I said is just as long or longer than the campaign, you are capped at max level and fight enemies who are often 6 levels or higher than your max level of 50. So the challenge is there at the end game anyway. No need to artificially keep the game challenging through the campaign. but that's just my opinion on that. Overall, Tactics Ogre Reborn is a well-made TRPG, well worth your time. If you're a tactical RPG fan, this is one that will keep you playing and enjoying it for 100 plus hours, and you won't even realize you've put that much time into it. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to let me know, and if you want to see more detailed videos about game mechanics, tips, or gameplay in Tactics Ogre Reborn, you'll find more on my channel. To get started, you can watch this video I made for you after 100 hours in the game. Thank you so much for watching, have a great day, and keep on gaming.